Seamus, just looking at the first two games so far with Kerry this year, have you been impressed with what you've seen between the draw against Dublin and then the win over Galway, albeit stealing it at the end?
Yeah, look, both games were, especially the Dublin game was a very exciting game, high scoring, very entertaining, and players were both sets of players really wanted to win the match, and it was I suppose in Croke Park. Everyone I suppose wants to play in Croke Park, but you had the two probably strongest teams playing the first day out, and neither team wanted to go off the field being defeated. So no, it was a great game. I think a draw probably at the end was a fair result, and so it certainly set up the Galway game, and was back at the game as well. That was not as exciting a game. The tempo was a little bit down, and it certainly wasn't as physical or as aggressive as the game above in Dublin. But it became, I suppose, it was a very exciting finish in the sense that Kerry robbed the game at the end, and with a goal down with into injury time, Kerry certainly would have taken a draw, never mind a win. But they bagged the 2 points, and I think it's 2 big points for Kerry in the sense 3 points out of 4. It's a great start to the league, takes a bit of pressure off, and especially going up to Tyrone next weekend, always a hard place to go get points, and so they can go without, go up, enjoy the game, and if they win, it's fantastic. If not, they're still mid-table, and they're learning every day.
Yeah, and of course you've managed David Clifford there for the past couple of years, not to mention his brother Paddy.
Yeah.
Number one, like the captaincy issue happened, and it's going to remain that the county champions are going to keep picking the captain. Are you happy enough with that? David taking on the captaincy, does he have those?
Well, no, yeah,
qualities?
Dave. Look, obviously, I would have been happier to see the rule change at county board level, but it is what it is. I think it was defeated 50 votes to 48. But David was in anyway, and Dave was in for the year, and Dave will be a very, very good captain. Albeit he's only 21, but he to be fair, he's involved for the last. This will be his 3rd year, and David will certainly not feel any pressure or extra pressure on himself because he is captain of Kerry. David will just go out what he does best, and that's to go out and play football, and go out and play for his team, and go out and give it 140% every day. And in fairness, since the guy he came in under Eamon Fitzmaurice, and now he's been with Peter Keane at underage, and this is his 2nd year with him, David will do nothing different only to go out and play football. So I think he's the ideal captain. He will not be looking over his shoulder, and he'll be one of the first names on the team, albeit he'll be injured or sick.
Could you see Paddy making a burst onto the team? He was so impressive last year.
Yeah, Paddy has been playing great club football, and over the last the 2 years I was with him, unfortunately he got injured last year, but Paddy was exceptional the year before, and that year he went on and won an All-Ireland with the Kerry Juniors and played with East Kerry as well, and got beaten by Dingle in the semi-final. Went on to win a Sigerson with UCC. So over the last 2 to 3 years have been really a roller coaster for that guy. He's really developed himself and has bought into the strength and conditioning, and I suppose in terms of where you have to be in terms of fitness. So he was just a tad unlucky that he got injured and hurt his leg and was in a boot for the last number of weeks. So no doubt once he gets his fitness back that Peter will give him an opportunity in some stage in the league, and it'll be nice to see 2 brothers maybe wearing a 10 and a 13 or a 14 on a day out, because they certainly have a telepathic connection between themselves, and he has a fantastic ability to kick a ball into David. So looking forward to that. He's also a very solid runner as well. He's very strong on the ball, But look, it's a big jump up for Paddy. He'll know that himself, but no doubt he'll give it 100%.
Now I've reams of questions here. I could keep you here for an hour, but time is tight, so I might just burst through a couple of them. Those pictures of that Tralee IT team, with yourself, Jim McGuinness, Mike Russell, Pádraig, Joyce as well. When you see them surfacing in the past couple of weeks, does it kind of bring it all back?
Yeah, well, it reminded me that I'd hear it once upon a time anyway. And but yeah, it's good memories, and it's hard to think it's back in '98. And look, I suppose in Tralee I was in UCC first. I finished my degree in UCC and went to Tralee, but funny enough, we're having a UCC reunion, a 25-year reunion in April, and time flies. time absolutely flies, and you know, seeing the picture and that during the week, you know, some of the fellas I haven't met since that period, unfortunately, and it's just the way life goes, you know. But yeah, that Tralee team in '98 was exceptionally strong, and you know, you'd 7 players that I suppose either had or went on to win All Ireland medals after that time. So you know, huge depth in talent, and you know, it was exciting times for Tralee, and you know, thankfully for the 3 years that they really had a go at it, that they won.
Because there was some very interesting quotes from Pádraig Joyce, your former teammate, at the start of the season, where he's looking to win an All-Ireland straight away, which is great to hear a manager say that. But there was a quote from Barry O'Shea about 1997 when he was in his apartment in Tralee, and he saw the Kerry parade when you won the All-Ireland, and he goes, we'll be doing that next year. And Barry says that's the way the man thinks, and they came along and did it. I wouldn't put it past him saying things to his Galway team now and them going and doing it.
Absolutely, and that's the way he taught. The same fella threw out a can of beer out to me down the bus as well. Ed, himself, Michael Donlan were inside the bus, and he threw out a few cans while we were on the bus going down. But look, at the time, '97, Pádraig wasn't involved. He wasn't involved with Galway, which was very strange. I suppose we had seen the quality of the player that he was, and in terms of his, I suppose, ability to take scores, and especially his free kick taking ability was immense. And it was strange that he wasn't involved with Galway at the time, considering the fact that they were struggling and they were being beaten by Mayo, and they were struggling for natural forwards, you know. But I suppose John O'Mahony came in '98, and that all changed. And you know, overnight Galway became a tour de force, and albeit that they were underdogs going into the final that year, they had an exceptional team, and you know, they had pace and they had quality, and they had so many lifties on the team. It was frightening. They had Jan, they had Pádraig Joyce, and they had Derek Savage, and they had Pádraig Clancy. They had so many. They had a really good mix of left players and all quality players. So you know, it was. I wasn't surprised to see that Galway went on to win the All Ireland in '98 because they had that quality of player.
I wonder, could they do it this year?
You know, it's Pádraig has set out, as you said, he set out his stalls already, and saying, you know, he wants to win an Ireland, and in fairness, that's the way he thinks, and you know, you have to think like that. If you think you're going to win, get to the Super 8s, undoubtedly you're just going to get to the Super 8s.
Can Kerry?
But what I'm saying is that if you set your team out to say, look, our target is to get to the Super 8s, you know, ultimately you probably will get to the Super 8s, and you may not go any further than that. But what I'm saying is that if you set your stalls out to a higher level, you know, you have to have a go at it anyway, and always set your targets high, and that's the most important thing. I think there's a tradition in Galway. You know, you only have to look at the club football, how strong it is at the minute, with Corofin, with Uach Gerard at the intermediate level. You know, so there's a core, there's an underlying team there that they have the quality of players. It's just to get get it back and get the belief. And there's no better man than getting the belief and the confidence than Pádraig, because he played like that anyway.
I was speaking to Mark O'Shea before our interview here, and number one, he was saying he modelled his game after on yours, so that'll butter you up that side. I don't necessarily. He told me to ask you about something. I have no idea what I'm asking about. But he says ask him about La Santa and the Canaries in the 04 training camp, and why himself and Tomas went off to the lash the day after, and where did they go? Can you even answer that?
Oh God, where didn't we go? That's it. But it was an early, and myself and Tomas struck off early in the morning. But we've been missing. I think we missed one of the training sessions. But we got back for the gym session that evening, and all was restored again. But yeah, Mark will always remind guys of the bad stories anyway.
Was there devilment in there? Was there devilment in there that's okay to tell on camera?
Oh yeah, no, it was good. No, it was always good. I think Dara came in to save us and to bring us back out, but ultimately I think Dara stayed, and we actually brought Dara back in the taxi.
There's another story that I heard about the day of Pádraig Joyce's wedding that you were invited to, but you had to go to play a match earlier on in the day, and Mark and Gooch. Is this true?
Pádraig Joyce's wedding? No, I don't think so. I can't recall.
I could have been given bad information. Yeah. This wasn't Mark now. But
yes. No. I was. Joyce's wedding was up in Loughrane.
Yeah.
So it was a fair hall, and no, I can't recall. No, I know there was no story behind that, bar the fact that it is a long journey up to Leitrim, into Loughrane's and Leitrim, yeah. And but no, it was at that wedding. It was an exceptionally good wedding, and a late one as well, unfortunately.
So, what about the first 5 years that you had as a Kerry footballer, and I suppose that first year in the game against Clare? How do you kind of marry together probably the buzz of playing with the likes of Bomber Liston and Jacko, and then the fact that it went so wrong against Clare.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know, what was that? Must have been a day of highs and lows.
Yeah, it was obviously a great baptism of fire to be given the opportunity. I was only 18 and doing the matric at the time. I pulled out of the matric because I had the leaving cert done anyway, but it was fantastic to be in. At the time, Mickey Ned was training the under-21s and the seniors, so he probably had both camps in, and he was bringing a few fellas in to make up, I suppose, for trial games and whatnot. So myself and Billy were kept back then for the senior games and stuff like that. So look, to get the call up that time in '92 was obviously. I didn't see it coming myself, and I suppose you could argue that a lot of people in Kerry didn't see it coming either, and probably were cross at the fact that there was a young little nipper being put into the middle of the field for Kerry in '92, and probably a lot of lads would say that's the reason why we lost. But I don't think it was. I just think, in fairness, Clare were the better team of the day, and we just a little bit sluggish. But obviously, it was great to play with the likes of Ambrose and Jacko was full forward. The whole game revolved around Jacko, and we were to kick the ball, run off him, and score or whatnot. But look, Jacko was obviously a legend, had 8 All-Ireland medals, and it was a fantastic honour to be in the same dressing room with him. And in '93, Bomber came back. Bomber mentioned that he fitted into 14 pairs of jeans that he hadn't fitted into in 20 years. After '93 was the only thing he got back. But great guy, and real team player, and he was a great addition to us, especially younger guys who needed to learn the ropes a little bit. And I was fortunate enough as well to play in '91 with Pat Spillane in a trial game against Laois, and all those guys, they were legends of the game. And while I hadn't won an awful lot in the early part of my career, I always was very happy to say that I played with the 3 great guys that were part of the golden years in Kerry, and it was a fantastic honour.
Do you remember how much you scored in Championship? I checked this out in Terrace Talk earlier.
Championship, I would say very little.
You were full back, I suppose, for an awful lot.
For most of it, and maybe wing back. If I got more than 10 or 12 points, I'd be surprised.
Jeez, I hate to be the bearer of bad news.
Yes.
5.
But in Munster Championships and stuff like that, are All Ireland?
Oh, I'm just going Championship only.
All Ireland, 1 point, I'd say so.
Oh, sorry, in finals?
Yeah.
Oh, well, hey, you'll take it. Not bad for full back. So it's good. Like then, to go all the way from '92 to '97, considering you would have probably been reared, especially as a younger teenager, on All Irelands and All Irelands alone.
Watching, yeah.
Was it 5 years of frustration?
There's no doubt, and to make matters worse, I was in UCC for the period of time as well. So I was 4 years in UCC, so I was getting it from left, right, and centre, and But look, there was good banter there, but obviously I was living amongst the enemy and playing with the enemy as well, obviously with UCC. But made some great friends out of that as well. And as I said, we have our reunion next April, this coming April now as well, for the team that won '94 and '95. So there were some great players: Mark Sullivan, Mickey Donovan, Johnny Clifford, Jason Williford, and all those guys, all played Cork minors and Cork under-21s, and some of them went on to play with seniors as well. But there was a great bunch of fellas there that really put in the hard shift with UCC, and may not have had the big limelight games that Tralee had, but they put in a hard shift, and ultimately got the prizes. But there were definitely hard years from a inter-county point of view from Kerry. It was tough times, but look, it was a great learning curve, and it was fantastic when it eventually did turn in '96.
Which was the sweetest of the 4 All Irelands you won?
'97, obviously. I would say myself personally, because it was the first one, and it was the monkey off the back syndrome, really. Obviously, I suppose from a personal point of view, 2000 was lovely in the sense that I was captain, and to get the honour to lift the Sam Maguire was obviously a childhood dream. But for me, '97 was the most important one, because we had waited personally so long, and as a county for 11 years to win the All Ireland. I think the pressure relief valve was left go, and I think after that players were really allowed to express themselves, because there was 1 medal in the pocket anyway.
And I'll ask you a final question then. Kerry this year, do you think they can win Sam Maguire this year? Obviously Dublin 5 in a row, new manager.
Yeah, but Kerry always think they can win in All Ireland, and different to Portage, Joyce up in Galway, that will be the target, and that will be what they'll aim for. Obviously you've Munster, and you'll obviously, as Paddy would say, you've right down the first month in June, and the third week in September. Now obviously that hasn't changed a tad, but the principles remain the same. You will only be judged in Kerry if you win Munsters and win All Irelands, and ultimately the All Irelands. And while people would say no, that's maybe a hard task with how strong strong Dublin are. I think Kerry are among 4 teams that are capable or thereabouts, or at least in the hunting pack to get to Dublin. And while that's a huge challenge, I think Kerry will always try to get to there. And while last year they went very, very close, I think in the replay showed that there still is a little bit of a distance in between the 2 teams, and that Kerry will still have to find 2 or 3 more players to get to that level. Dublin are a serious outfit; they're really, really well equipped, but Kerry will be very, very close. And I think it's not if it's win, they're going to win it,
And one final thing, actually, Jack O'Connor, Paul Galvin, Mike Quirk, Kerry men managing away from home. Who's got the toughest task?
Yeah, look, to be fair, I suppose, and Paul, I suppose, in the sense of it all depends on what the other counties are looking for. But I suppose in terms of what Paul inherited and where they are, I suppose Wexford have not been holding their own in terms of in the football side. The hurling seems to be very, very strong in Wexford at the minute, and they seem to be going very well. And winning Leinster last year, and they're knocking on the door in terms of winning a hurling. So hurling seems to be quite strong in Wexford, so Paul will probably have a task turning that around and getting players in. Mike had a big win in the weekend against Armagh, so that was a big one. It's a big win. And Jack had a surprising defeat against Clare. So I think the most pressure will be on Jack, because there's expectations in Kildare to turn it around, considering that they won on All-Ireland under 21 maybe 2 years ago, and so the pressure probably will be on Jack, and considering the fact that he's a manager that has won All-Irelands before, and there's an expectation there, whereas Mike and Paul are probably rookie managers, and the pressure won't be on them, obviously, to a lesser extent. But look, it's fair due to the guys. It's a big commitment, especially for Mike travelling up from Kerry. It's a big one. But look, all you can do is wish the boys best of luck once they're not playing Kerry. We will wish them the best of luck.
Thanks very much, Seamus. Thanks for watching Our Game. Don't forget to like and share the videos, and if you're new to the channel, hit subscribe.